And I also just like to make sure that we are live and I can see it before I get going. So here we are. I think we are good.
All right.
So welcome. Jason, can you check that for me? Jason's just going to check and make sure we are live.
It says we're streaming.
It says we're streaming. So this is good news. I've only been using this for like a couple of weeks now. So this whole Zoom webinar live thing is a whole new thing for me, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So welcome, Bob Heilig, to our community and to this podcast today. I'm super excited to have you here. And it's funny because I was saying to Jason this morning how life kind of comes full circle, because I first heard your voice, or like heard of you, listening to a podcast by Shailene Johnson. Like, I don't know how long ago that was, probably whenever that was, like
probably about a year and a half ago at this point, maybe 2 years almost.
Yeah. And now you're here on my podcast. So, oh, I'm going to cry. No, I love it. And we met because after I listened to you on Shailene's podcast, I was like, I did some more research on him. Like, I need to know who this guy is. I know he can help me somehow. And one thing led to another. And then you were my mentor for a few months, it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that long ago, but.
And you did some great stuff for me, and you really got me on track in my business. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. It's been cool watching your progression.
It's coming. It's coming. So we're really excited to have you here. And I always, the audience that, or the tribe that we have here at Keeping It Real with Shane and Recker is mainly women. So I love that you're the first actual male that I've interviewed on here.
Okay.
So
well, that pretty much describes my day on a daily basis inside of my community, as you know, is mostly women. So I'm
mostly women. So you're
kind
good.
of embrace it, and it is what it is.
Yeah, you're ready for it. And most of them, of course, are network marketing. So that's what we're going to talk a lot about that, because I know that's obviously your background and where your expertise comes from. But what I usually do, and I keep it totally real here, you can say anything, you can swear, all the good stuff. But the first thing I love to just ask is, how did you get started in network marketing? And I know you have quite a story about the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns that led you to where you are today. So I'd love for you just to start there and share a little background with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I came to the network marketing profession from a corporate sales career. Mm-hmm. You name it, I've sold it, but the majority of my career, I was in the medical sales profession. Okay. And, I think my story in my corporate career is probably not all that different than a lot of entrepreneurs that started in corporate America, where I just got to the point where I realized working for someone else was not going to give me the life that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And, by no means am I like anti-job. I think there are some people that are in our profession that try to trash jobs as a way to get people to join their business. That's not me. Yeah. I'm not anti-job. If you have a job that you love and that you think is paying you well, and then, hey, more power to you. But what I am is I'm pro-opportunity. And I just knew that for me, I needed to find something that would allow me to make a bigger impact in the world. Contribution has always been one of my guiding principles and values in life. I want to make an impact. I want to make a contribution. And working in the confines of corporate America in a sales job, it allowed me to do that on a very small scale, but there was much more that I wanted to do. And by no means, I didn't know what it was going to be, but network marketing came into my life and it just made sense to me. And I really liked the people that I met. I think, that's one of the things about the network marketing profession is you meet some of the best people, in my opinion, in the world. It attracts there's obviously any business, there's good and bad, but some of the best people I've met in my life, I've met in this profession. And I just really fell in love with it. And it started out for me, it was really just kind of a part-time thing. I didn't have these big dreams and aspirations right away, but over time, as I was around it more and more, it grew. Mm-hmm. I didn't get off to like a super fast start. My first year was really a struggle. I was a young guy right out of college, was immature, and I'm a dolphin blue personality by nature. So like I liked having fun and okay. So, I struggled with consistency, and my priorities probably weren't exactly where they needed to be. But anyway, I stuck it out and eventually learned a lot about myself and got on the path to success.
Yeah, I love it. And so when you say you struggled in that first year, what kind of things, like, what were your biggest sort of struggles that you dealt with? Because I know, like, one of the reasons I even started this whole thing was because I see people struggle and then they give up too soon and they quit. And it's like,
Yeah.
my whole message is I want people to keep going because there's so much awesomeness that comes from this career of network marketing. So what were some of those things?
Yeah, this could probably be said about almost all businesses, but network marketing is the world that I live in. And I say it like this today: your network marketing business, what it really is it's a gift from the universe
Yeah.
to help you face your fears, grow as a human being, and discover your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I resisted this notion in my first year. My business was controlled by fear.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert by nature. One of my greatest fears most of my life has been public speaking. I really, really resisted the idea of prospecting. I hated it. Giving presentations was something I would have rather died. I didn't do that in my first
Most
year.
of us, yeah.
And even though I kept saying that I wanted this big team and I wanted to be a leader, deep down, I was afraid of leading people because I thought that I would fail them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was controlled by fear. I didn't really understand fear as I do now.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, the interesting thing is when you join a network marketing business, anybody watching that's in this profession can relate to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a spotlight gets shined down on every
Yes.
insecurity
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of the just nasty stuff inside of you. It comes to the surface.
Yeah.
And that's an opportunity for you to face those things and grow. And, I say that network marketing, it starts out really just as a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And
Absolutely.
to the degree that you grow and become better, your business usually does the same. But I didn't understand that my first year.
Mm.
So I really just tried to honestly put in minimal effort and get maximum results. I just thought if I
Which
just
we know
hung
doesn't work.
yeah, I just thought if I would hang around long enough and I eventually got to the point where I got so frustrated at seeing other people's success,
Yeah.
questioning why not me, that it forced me to look at myself in the mirror and really
Yeah.
take responsibility for my success, which, almost anybody you talk to that's been in this profession that is negative or soured on it because they tried it and it didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 of those people, I can promise you, never even took responsibility for their own success.
Yeah.
And it took me about a year to get to the point that I needed to do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I always say that network marketing, like, you're supposed to work the network marketing business. It's not supposed to work for you. Like, you have to
Yeah,
put in the time. You have to,
exactly.
go through all the no's and continue to keep going and all that good stuff. And the whole thing about the service to others, or that service piece. And that's one of the things that I like to talk about is that, that mentality in this business of, we're not out to sell something. We're not out to get somebody to join our team. We're out to, offer somebody an opportunity, and it's about serving other people. It's not about getting something for yourself. And I think
Yeah.
that's it takes a little while to get to that space because you're so excited to sell and do all these things it's always
Yeah.
about you in the beginning.
Yep.
But over time you learn it's actually not about you at all. It's about helping other people. And that's I think, like you said, it's one of the best things about this industry.
Well, that's why I struggled with fear. Today I teach a philosophy I came up with called legacy leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And this philosophy, I didn't come up with the ideas, but I just gave it a name as it pertains to our profession. It's really based off of the law of reciprocity, which is what you said: the more you give, the more you get.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem a lot of people have with a business like this is they start a business from a position of need and lack. They need
Yes.
money, they need time. So it's only natural to focus on what you can get, right? I want to make money. I want to quit my job. I want to do all these other things. But this is what most people are taught to focus on. And I think that we can talk about social media. Social media has only made this problem worse. And I refer to this mindset of just what you can get from your business as the success mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really big problem with the success mindset is it is ego-based.
Yes.
And your ego is a fear-based organism.
Mm-hmm.
And what that basically means is that it is always comparing itself to its relative position to others. And because of that, it's always lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the success mindset, fear will always be something you struggle with, and you'll never be enough. There's literally no amount of money in the world that will give you the fulfillment or fill that void in you that you need. And if you're only focused on what you can get, you might see periods of success, but I promise you it will not be long-term and lasting, because it's not going to be fulfilling for you.
No.
And, it's this legacy leadership philosophy is shifting. Before you ask what you can get, ask what you can give. It's okay to have success goals, as I call it. I want to make this much money. I want to hit this rank. I want to drive this car. Those things are fine. I'm not anti nice things, but if that's the only thing driving your business, you're in trouble. The question that I challenge people to ask themselves is, how do you want the world to be different or better because you said yes to this profession?
Yeah.
How do you want to impact the lives of other people? Most people don't think about those things, right? And when you can get outside of yourself, and let's be real, fear is really just us being selfish. People say, well, I'm afraid to go talk to people. I'm like, you're selfish. They're like, no, I'm shy. I go, no, you're selfish. You're just worried about yourself, right?
Not about the other person.
When we focus on others and we focus on impact and giving, something really powerful happens. We get 10 times more than we ever would before. And this was probably one of my biggest aha moments of my life, Shayna, is this. Income, everybody focuses on income and what we can get. Income is a byproduct of impact. You want to make more money, impact more people, and it will naturally happen. Now there's it's a little bit of a time between the impact and the income, but if you impact, it's always going to lead you to better results.
And people need to know that there is some time that you have to go out and do the work and do the, the service to others and all those things. And it doesn't come right away always, you've got to always keep going with that. And it's like the law of income too. That's another one. So the more you serve, the more money you make, right? So the more people that you're out helping. And one of the things that, that I talk about too is that, the products that a lot of us have within our network marketing businesses do serve and help people. They help them lose weight. They help them be healthier. They help them have better skin, the opportunities we have. So we have to be out there sharing. And that's part of the service to others, is offering our products and our service. So to take you out of the equation and put in what your products can do for other people. And that's how it comes back to us in the sales and then the income and all that kind of stuff.
Well, here's how it applies to sales, because this is a good example, is if you have the success mindset, your goal is to literally just try to convince every single person to buy what you have, whether they need it or not. It's like the used car salesman approach. You never take the time to find out, does this person have a problem that this product can solve? You never take the time to really get to know them. You really, it's just trying to, ram a square peg into every round hole that you see. And if you're operating from this philosophy of legacy leadership and you're really making it about other people, you don't even view yourself as a salesperson. You view yourself as a consultant. And you take the time to find out, does this person need what I have? And you stop trying to sell people opportunities and you start prescribing them solutions to their life. So it's just there's a lot of different nuances to the way that you build your business through this other philosophy. It changes everything. And here's the power of it, is when you can get really clear. See, I would say the common thread for the philosophy that I teach, legacy leadership, is purpose. And it's understanding first and foremost that every single one of us does have a unique purpose for our life. And the success mindset teaches you to go out and just sell your business and sell your products and push those things. Legacy leadership tells you to sell yourself. Legacy leadership teaches you that your network marketing business is nothing more than a vehicle to help you live out the purpose for your life. And when you lead with purpose and you start bringing these types of things into the conversations you have with people, it immediately starts helping you feel more fulfilled by the work that you do. It is such a deeper and more meaningful source of fuel when you know and you're really clear that there is a much bigger reason why you're doing what you're doing more than just making a lot of money, the effect that that has on the way you show up and build your business is profound.
Mm-hmm. And takes the pressure off you too. Like you're doing it for different reasons other than to, try and, make the money or, whatever. It's more of a, I don't know, there's just a better feeling around the whole thing. Like you want to show up every day because it's something that you care about. It's something that you're passionate about, not just to make the buck or to make the sale kind of thing.
It's more authentic. You have more authentic conversations. And then you don't get offended if someone says no, right? Because it's not about you. It's just you're offering them something. And if it's not for them, then that's what it is.
Absolutely. Now you touched on something quickly. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit here, but this was a fantastic way to start this conversation, by the way. That's so it's such, I love the mission that you guys have going on over at the Legacy Leader. You talked about social media has changed the game a little bit, and let's talk about that, because I know you do a lot of work and training in social media, and I mean, social media is changing like every day almost, I find. So, what would you say, when you're looking at social media right now to grow our businesses, what is the best, your biggest tips in that realm? Because I know everybody right now, it's like they're all about putting themselves, do I brand myself? Do I brand my company? Or what do I do? Like, what should I be doing out there?
Yeah. Well, let me say this first, because I have a really strong stance on social media. I think it is at the same time the best and the worst thing that has ever happened to the network marketing profession. And maybe I'm over dramatizing this, but I really believe that we are at a crossroads right now as a profession. Look, it's no secret that the average person that's out there today that has not been a part of this world does not look really favorably on network marketing, right? We have a bad rap. And I think it's a lot of it is out of ignorance, and most of it is unjust, but we have to be honest with ourselves that we are the ones that have caused the problem in most cases. And the number one culprit of this today is social media. And, I heard it said like this, and it's so true. People, generally speaking, they don't hate network marketing. They hate network marketers. And they especially hate network marketers that promote and sell all day long and fill up their Facebook newsfeed. And using these overly promotional strategies may have worked for your upline 3 or 4 years ago, but it ain't going to work for you today. And we have a responsibility. We need to stop. We need to get better. We need to start highlighting what this profession is really about. We have to understand that Facebook was not created for you to sell stuff, right? The success mindset approach to social media, sell, promote, sell, promote, sell, promote. Every post is a carefully thought out attempt at getting a customer or getting a recruit.
Selling a product.
And that's probably the number one question I get is, hey, Bob, what's a good example of a prospecting post? And, there's nothing inherently wrong with that question, but it just shows me that you're focusing on the wrong thing. See, here's my number one tip for social media. It's this: give more. And here's how you give more. Instead of saying, what's a good example of a prospecting post, which is saying, how can I get, ask yourself this question: what would be something that I could share on social media that would genuinely impact and add value to the lives of the people that I'm connected with? Start creating content that educates people, that entertains them, that empowers them. Start being more vulnerable and share yourself, sell yourself. That's what people buy you before they buy your company. Start doing things like live videos. I know as scary as that might be. But in order for us to get attention, we have to stand out and we have to be different. And what's different is don't do what most people are doing, which is sell, promote, sell, promote. But Shana, I have to mention here's the other big problem with social media today. And you probably see this in your downline. Anybody that's watching this, you need to understand this is happening. The bigger issue with social media is people today are relying too heavily on it. And they use it as a crutch. And they're hiding behind their computer, thinking that if they just post enough on Facebook, that eventually that's going to lead them to results. And here's what's happening is it is robbing them of the greatest gift that this profession has to offer anyone that's in it, which is your own development and growth as a human being. Relying too heavily on Facebook, never facing your fears and getting out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself to grow, it robs you of your own personal growth. And then what it also does for the people that have created success that way, they never develop the necessary leadership and people skills to go to that next level of success, and they stay stuck. So you must find a way to practice high tech, high touch. Use social media and all the tools we have, but don't do that at the expense of building real relationships with people and face to face and getting over your fear, because otherwise you're always going to limit the success that you have.
Absolutely. And I think what happens is, you know, they see one person who's built this big organization solely through Instagram, you know, and that's one person out of millions that have actually made that happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like I'm old school in this profession, even though I've only been in it for 8 years. I still love being in person-to-person meetings with people, sharing one-on-one, you know, being able to actually have conversations versus doing it all through texting and Insta messaging and stuff, because then you don't get that. There's like an energetic exchange that you also get when you're in person that you just don't get when you're online, and that gets lost.
Yeah. And I think it could even go, because I was just having this conversation last weekend with someone, and they said, so are you telling me that like I need to meet face to face with all my prospects? I'm like, no.
Not always.
I go, this is face to face.
Yeah.
This is a live interaction. We can utilize technology in a way that still forces us to get out of our comfort zone and grow. Give a presentation through Zoom, right? Yeah. There are ways for us to do this, but what I'm saying is if you just try to hide behind your computer and think that you're going to become super successful in this profession today, it's not going to happen.
Just by posting. Yeah.
It's just not. And if you don't see the writing on the wall, what Facebook is doing in terms of, you know, penalizing people that are using spammy, overly promotional marketing tactics, if we don't as a profession start getting better, it's only going to get worse for us. Yeah. And those of us like you and I, and a lot of your viewers that do represent all that is right and good about this profession, we have a responsibility to step up and be louder on social media.
Yes.
Right? Because that's not who most people see.
Yes.
They see the bad examples, and that's why people have a bad perception of what we do.
Yes. And that's totally part of the reason why I started this too, is to, you know, show people how to do it in a way that's not going to ruin the profession for all the other people, right? By being the salesperson or salesy and all that stuff. Yeah. And I find that social media, like, it's changing so often too. Like, it's hard to keep up with everything. Like, you know, Facebook now, it's like business pages don't get any reach. And then there's the organic, you know, like, do we do groups now? And do you do like, so where do you see Facebook, you know, as far as, you know, how for network marketers building their business, where is their best place to do connecting and all that kind of stuff through Facebook? Is it just your personal page, like scrap the business page? I get that question a lot. Like, do I have a business page, personal page, groups?
So if we're talking about Facebook, it's personal profile and group.
Yeah.
That's it. 99 out of 100 people that are going to watch this, you're going to waste your time on a business page.
Yeah.
There's only two exceptions of people that I would say go at it with a business page. Number one, you already have a large audience on there, which eliminates 99% of people. And when I say large audience, I'm talking about thousands and thousands of likes on your page already.
Yeah.
Okay. Not 300 likes. That's nothing.
Never going to get seen.
Or you already have figured something out where you're seeing results. You're making sales, you're getting recruits, right? So it's already working for you. So that just eliminated 99 out of 100 people. So I'm telling you, forget about a business page, because what Facebook has done is, I mean, it is the greatest bait and switch of all time that's ever happened in our world. Yeah. They told everyone for years, start a business page, spend lots of money building your audience, right? And then all of a sudden they said, well, we know we told you that, but now we're going to make you pay to get your reach. You have to pay to play, yeah. You can't post your way to building an audience on a business page without running ads.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is network marketers say, okay, so I'll just run ads promoting my products and promoting my opportunity.
Funnel them into this thing.
Those ads do not convert and work, okay? So it is more, you just don't have the expertise, and most people don't have the money. And quite frankly, let's call it what it is. Most of the people that say, Bob, I'm just going to start a business page, the only reason why they do that is because they're too damn scared to post on their own personal profile because they're worried about what their family and friends are going to say.
Yeah. Exactly.
So once again, it's fear.
So
here's what works today on Facebook. Personal profile. You have to do live video, okay? I can't be clearer. People are like, well, how do I grow my audience? You cannot grow an audience on Facebook today unless you're doing live video.
Yeah.
You will not post your way to a huge audience just writing. You have to do video. Do 1 to 3 videos a week on your personal profile. Okay. I don't think you need to do any more than that. That's just me. And start a Facebook group. Start a Facebook group for, you could do it any number of ways. I teach 2 basic types of groups. Start a prospecting group that is revolved around your products, but don't make the group exist just to sell your stuff.
Yeah.
So like if you have health and wellness products, create a group around a generic topic of health and wellness and add people to the group that are not only interested in your products, but are also interested in that topic.
Yeah.
So that this way they have a reason to show up more than just getting sold to. So I would start I call it a product focused prospecting group. And then I would have a second group that I would be running that is a team training and team building group. In that group, I have all my existing team members, and I would actually be adding prospects that have seen a presentation and have not yet joined but are interested in joining. I would be adding them to that group as well. Now, I know a lot of people, they just have a separate business prospect group, and if that's the case, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But the point, the Facebook groups are the future of Facebook, at least as of right now.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
They've already been proven that they changed their tune, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Look, they're very, Facebook is concerned, quite frankly, because the user experience has really gone down the tubes and people are not spending as much time on Facebook. So they're really taking some drastic actions to get people back
in.
And they already said, we want to make it a goal to get 1 billion of our users part of meaningful communities and groups. So they're giving us as group administrators tons of amazing features.
Yes, I've noticed
to be
that.
able to manage our groups and to get them seen. So to me, that's where it would be: personal profile, Facebook group, and that would be where I would be spending most of my time.
And then Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's a whole separate thing. We can talk Instagram, but I think
my kids who are 16 and 14, like that are online, they call Facebook for old people. Like, that younger generation that's coming up, they're not even on Facebook.
No.
At this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, if your demographic is like 25 and younger, then you should not even be on Facebook. But most of your audience is, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
So people that when they start hearing like other platforms, when they start getting mild forms of anxiety because they're
like Snapchat,
like just master one profile.
Yeah.
Master one platform. For 90% of your audience, that's going to probably be Facebook. And then when you feel comfortable enough there and you're starting to see some traction, then you can think about adding something like an Instagram to your approach. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true.
But I do love Instagram, by the way, for whatever it's worth. I mean, it is.
And there's a lot of users on there.
Engagement is 10 times higher on Instagram than it is on Facebook.
I find that the Insta stories thing is something that I struggle with is you see the people who are doing like the Insta stories all day long. And I'm like, how are you doing that? Because it's like so time consuming, but I know it's something that's people are watching those things. Like they're watching those stories. That's what's getting the attention. So it's one of those things that you just have to figure out.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here because I want to ask you, because when you and I first started working together, I'm going to be totally honest. You didn't have any kids. You could work your business like pretty much whenever you wanted to. And I was always, because I have 3 kids, so life is busy. My audience that watches this has a lot of, a lot of them are moms.
Yeah.
And so how has working, because I know you're not in network marketing anymore. You're doing your legacy leader and your virtual upline, my virtual upline, right?
Yep.
So, which I'm sure keep you as busy, if not busier than having network marketing business. But how has having children, because I know you have a little guy now named Grayson, and he's how old now?
He just turned 9 months yesterday.
9 months. So that's busy.
Yes.
How has having kids changed your approach to business and how you work? Because I know, like for me, it's like I'd be like, oh, I'm really trying to get all this stuff done, and like I've got this to-do list, but I got these kids and stuff, and like it makes it difficult for some parents. So has your mindset on how you work your business or all that kind of stuff, how has that changed?
Yeah, well, and you're right. I am not actively building a network marketing downline, but I really view my training company as doing that anyway. Because
Pretty
I
much, yeah.
basically everything that I used to do in my downline, I do today. I do coaching calls, I do group training. I mean, I do it all.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, having a son, what it did more than anything is it really forced me to take a look at my priorities
Mm-hmm.
and where I was spending my time. Because as I'm sure anyone that's watching that's managing a career, business, and children, it is really easy to get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes we say things are important to us, but when we do an audit of how we spend our time, those things are not necessarily consistent.
Yes.
And what I noticed right away was telling everyone how important my family was to me, but that was not necessarily always showing up in the way that I was spending time with them. And, this is a topic that's very fresh in my mind because inside of our membership, we just did a time management and productivity class.
I did that.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm very, very adamant about is that this whole idea that as a leader, it's admirable for you to be available to your team 24/7. Because a lot of times this is what's taught to us, right? Like the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed, you got to be available. This is like what is celebrated in a lot of companies' cultures. Yeah. And I'm telling you that that's BS.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that actually is a really bad thing. Here's why. Number one, you will always feel like you're a hamster on a wheel. You'll never get off it because you're constantly on. And what I've learned about productivity and studying it, periods of dedicated rest and renewal are as important to your long-term success as when you do work your business. So I'll say that another way. When you not working your business is as important to you working your business if you want to sustain long-term success. Because if we're always going and we never turn it off, here's what that is. It is the surest road to burnout.
Totally.
Probably a lot of your followers have been there. You've been there. I've been there.
Trying to do it all.
And I found myself at a point where I was literally burned out. And I said, something needs to change. And I just really started studying like people that were experts in the space. And here's what I found was that there's two main ways to avoid overwhelm and burnout. Number one is you must create boundaries around your time. You must have very clear separation of when you are and are not working your business. And this is very hard for some network marketing leaders because they've been taught such the opposite. But here's how it shows up in their life. They say their family's important. They're spending time with family, but they're never more than 12 inches away from their phone because God forbid something comes in that requires them to do work.
Yeah.
So what happens is whether we realize it or not, our family sees this and they actually feel like our business is going to become a replacement for them. Yeah. This is what causes problems. But we also do this on the opposite. Because we're not intentional about when we're working and not working our business, we're constantly in this state of anxiety where we feel guilty no matter what we're doing. We're with our family and then we're guilty that we're not working our business. And then we're working our business and then we feel guilty because we're not with our family. And this is only because you don't have boundaries. You have to go into your week and you have to be very intentional about how you run your week. We did a challenge called the Ideal Week Challenge, where we forced people to sit down and literally look at their week and give every hour of their day a name and pick you tell me, right, there you go. So you tell me your family's important, show me the blocks of time that you will be spending with your family, that your phone will be shut off and you will not be available to your downline. Yeah. Because here's what's important. Like you think the call, the text comes in at 10:59. Hey, can you do a three-way call? And you get right back to them and say, absolutely. In the moment you feel good. And sometimes your downline's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Shane is always there. But then eventually this is what happens. He starts to think, well, wait a minute. Is this what success looks like? Yeah. So like if I want to be at Shayna's level, I have to always be on. And what winds up happening is some of our upcoming leaders, it starts to create an internal resistance in them because that's not what they want their life to be like. Yes. And what I'm trying to tell people, you don't have to do that. Yes. It is important for you to tell your team, you know what? Wednesday nights, I am not available for work because that's time I spend with my family. Or
Yes.
you know what, Friday night or Saturday, I go to the movie with, like, what that you think that's going to derail your business. Oh my God, how can I not be available to my team?
Yeah.
But it's all a story. It's a lie. It's not that important. Like, it's not so important that they couldn't just get you the next day if they knew that's what they needed to do. And here's what it does, is it creates a picture of success that we want.
Yeah.
Your team says, wow, I
Yeah.
love it that she can just dictate. She doesn't work on Wednesday nights and her family's important to her. And I love the fact that she values that. But this is not what we're brought into. So we just feel like we need to be on all the time.
It's like the hamster wheels just constantly
Yeah. The second thing is this. So we talked about creating boundaries. When are you working and not working your business? And the second thing is this, and this is probably the one thing that hit home with me. You must eliminate the randomness of your work.
When you said that in the training, that was my wake up call, like the randomness. I'm like, I am random every day.
That's it. The number one reason why people are overwhelmed is there are too many random hours when they do their most important work. If you don't go into it with a plan, for example, here's where a lot of people get overwhelmed is Facebook. They got a Facebook group, they got their profile, they got this, and they don't know when the hell to post what, where, how, when.
And what they're posting.
Every day you wake up like, oh my God. But if you sit down and you say, okay, so what do I have to do and when am I going to do it? So in our group, I know every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 8 a.m. I go live.
Yeah.
I know that. There's no thinking about it. I prepare ahead of time. I know the topics. You know, maybe you say Fridays at noon, I go live in my team group. And then Wednesdays, I go live on my personal profile. And then you start planning ahead. Maybe you start doing things like batching your content, you know, in a group using the post scheduler, and you post once a day. You sit down on Monday, you knock out all your posts for the whole week, and then you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
You know,
I did that last Friday. I did all my content for the week. And this week, it's been fantastic. It's been amazing, like, oh, time to post on Instagram. It's already ready to go.
So if you eliminate the randomness, like one of the girls in our community was like, you have no idea. Like, I did laundry for the first time in my life, and I was at peace doing my laundry because she always used to struggle. When do I do laundry? And she always felt guilty. She'd be doing something. She goes, I blocked out 30 minutes a couple of times a week for laundry.
Yeah.
And she said it was amazing. And we had another girl, and this is where I think this is really, this was a huge aha moment for me. See, a lot of us come into this profession because we so desire freedom. We don't want people telling us what to do and when to do it. So a lot of people will resist this idea. Like, they'll see you hold up something like that, where it's like your entire week is strategized, and they're like, there's no way I would do something like that, because they so value freedom. But that same person that tells you they value freedom will also say, I am overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And here's what I found, and this to me was such a huge revelation. When I finally forced myself to sit down and do this, really organize, create boundaries, eliminate randomness, once I was in the process of the execution, I felt more of a sense of personal freedom and contentment in the confines of what I was doing than I ever had outside of it.
Absolutely.
Because it gives you the freedom to focus 100% on what you're doing, knowing that there's always going to be a plan. And that's what a lot of people don't get. And that's why we're in this constant state of stress and overwhelm and burnout.
And I did that. Friday was my first day, because I did your training Thursday night, and I did Friday. I planned out every day, every hour of the day Friday. And I actually really felt calm all day, because I wasn't having to think in my brain, oh my God, what am I doing next? Because I just knew it was on my schedule what I needed to do next. So once I was done, I looked over and I was like, okay, now I'm working on this. And it just was very freeing. And I felt, just relaxed, for the day.
So doing this, getting back to your question, doing this for me, it's changed my life.
Yeah.
Because it's forced me to be accountable that if I say my family is important, it needs to show up on my schedule. And for some of the people that are watching this that maybe there's a little bit of friction between their husband or wife or family and their business, I'm telling you, it's only because they don't feel as important to you. And the simple act of you approaching them and saying, look, you're a priority to me. And my intention is on these days and these times to shut work off and spend it with you. Just doing that alone will have such a huge impact on the way that they feel about you towards your business. Now, it's worth noting, we create this ideal week, we do all this planning. You're probably never going to execute it perfectly.
100%. Yeah.
And that's okay though, because if you at least go into it with a plan and you forgive yourself and know that life's going to get in the way, you're still going to get 2 to 3 times more done. And you're still going to feel so less overwhelmed just knowing you have the plan in place.
Absolutely. And going back to the team thing, like, you know, cause you get text messages and stuff at like 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And the minute you answer that message at 11 o'clock at night, and I am guilty of doing that, you've now taught that person that it's okay for them to message you then. So you teach people how to treat you, right? So if you start answering those things, and the thing with text messaging and social media is that social media has made it made it this thing where if someone messages you because you've seen it, it's like you feel pressure that you have to message them back right away because they've seen that you've seen it, and now you don't want to seem like you're, you know, and that's like, since when do we have to message people back right away? Like the next day is okay, it's still acceptable, right?
Well, here's what you do, okay? When you go to bed, you put your phone on airplane mode.
Always.
And you do not turn it off airplane mode for 30 minutes when you get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So this way you're not automatically at the whim of other people's agendas. You set your own agenda. But during these periods of time when you have your family time and you don't want that interruption of work, you don't have to turn your plane on airplane mode in case you just want to, in case somebody calls or something. But shut off all of the notifications on your phone.
That's huge.
Turn off Facebook notifications. So then this way, you don't even have the urge to see it come in. Like I personally, I don't have any notifications on my phone. I just know there are certain times of the day where I check, and I've got to check a list of things. And I have that, I call it my workday startup ritual.
Yeah.
Right before I start work, I check email, I check Facebook, I check, Instagram, but I do it on my agenda when I know I'm going to do it. And that gives me the peace of mind to just go about my day and do what I need to do.
You have your times. And a tip for that too, because I have teenagers, right? So teenagers, I like to keep my phone on in case they need me, because they're out and about at all weird hours of the day and night now. Is they each have their own special sound. So when my daughter messages me, it's a different sound. When my son messages me, it's a different sound. And when my husband messages, so that if I'm not supposed to be listening to messages, but that sound comes in, I know that I need to check that because it's my daughter. And usually
I love that.
Something.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
To help for those who have, his Grayson's obviously not on a phone yet.
Still got a couple years.
That time is coming. So I love that. And we are going to talk about your legacy leadership, because I'm sure there are people going, okay, what is this thing that he's talking about? And how do I get in it? I do want to talk about that. But before I want to touch on one more topic before we go, because I think it's really important, because when you met, like we met because I hired you as my mentor. And I want to talk about how, your thoughts. And I know I truly believe it's so important to have mentors and people in your life that help you in your business, because network marketing we have uplines and we have people that are there to support us. But I know for me, I've gone external for mentors, and I do believe that education is power. The more books you read, the more people you work with is going to help you grow. So I would love your thoughts on, mentorship and, who you've worked with and how that's helped support you in your career to this point.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it 2 ways. I can talk about it in terms of, making an investment in coaching and mentorship, which I've done plenty of. And I mean, it's literally changed my life. And I think here was the big shift in mindset for me. Mm-hmm. I used to hear people hiring coaches and investing in training and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And I used to just wonder about the cost. Like, how would anybody pay that much for that? Right. It was always about how much it costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got to a point in my life where I got this understanding, because I was around enough people that had said I'm successful because, and everybody that I admired all had coaches and mentors. I said, so there must be something there. And I started to realize that when you're evaluating something like coaching and mentorship, you don't look at what it costs, you look at what it's worth.
Yeah.
And when I started to look at the value that I could get out of someone else's expertise that had been where I wanted to be and help me get there faster and avoid a lot of the problems and challenges, and I started really investing heavily into my own development, it 10x'd my income. There's never been There's never been an investment that I made into personal coaching that hasn't helped me at least 4 or 5x what I invested in get back, that I could directly attribute to what I learned from that person. Now, here's the variable though. You got to do something with the information, right? So I think for me, I will always have a coach. I will always be around people that know more and have more than me, because that's how I get it.
Yeah.
But I want to address this topic to your audience. If people that are in the network marketing profession, you need to be that person to your team. And there's this thing that happens, and it happens. I know your audience is mostly women, and my audience is mostly women as well. And one of the number one kind of things I hear from them is, I don't feel comfortable stepping up and leading my team in a way where it's more hands-on and more directed, because we've done such a great job of just creating a fun environment and being everyone's friend.
We're so social.
Yeah. And there are 2 basic human drives: connection and aggression. Connection means that we want to form relationships. We want to love. We want to feel loved, right? Most leaders are really good at feeding into that human drive, right?
Yeah.
However, aggression, which does not mean like anger, aggression is energy used in achievement of goals.
Okay, that's good.
So what that means is that we need to accomplish things. We need to do things. We need to complete tasks. And
get shit done.
Connection requires a positive tone, which most leaders are great. But the aggression side requires discipline, focus, accountability, and drive. And it requires you to step up and lead in a way that maybe you don't feel comfortable, and you might not want to, because you don't want to be like their boss and be too hands-on, right? But what you need to understand is the leader that's just everyone's friend does it and doesn't do the other, does as much damage to their people as the one that just is always the driver, but doesn't. You have to have both. Humans need both to reach their full potential. So you must learn how to step up and lead people in a way where it helps them become better. And that might require you saying things to them sometimes that they don't want to hear. It might require you, because this is what most people do. Their best people, they just let them be because they're good and they don't need them. But what we fail to realize is that person, you've now failed that person as a leader, because they're never going to get better unless they have somebody helping them get better. You need to start being that person to your team. And here's the analogy I use: children. Your child does something wrong, you have no problem stepping in and telling them what they did wrong. And you would never even think about not being that to them, because you know that is an opportunity for you to teach them what's right. And you teaching them what's right is going to play such a profound effect on whether they wind up being the kind of human being you want them to be.
Totally.
But yet when this happens on our team, we run away from it. We don't like different confrontation. We don't want to be the bad person.
We want everybody to like us and still, because it's a volunteer army, right? Like we don't want them to walk away because we were mean. Or
and what I'm talking about here is you don't do this with everyone. You're only doing it with a handful of people on your team that really are committed and looking, and they want to win.
They want to grow.
And you do it with your child because you love them.
Yeah.
Why is it any different with your team? See, you proclaim that I love and care about my team, but yet you're missing a huge part of love. Loving someone doesn't mean affirming them all the time.
Yes.
It means stepping in and being that person. See, your team, your best people, they need you to be that for them.
Yes.
And that's why, so we talk about coaching, mentorship. You can be that to your team. They don't need to pay you, but you need to step in and realize that every single person needs that to reach their full potential.
And I believe as a leader that I have to be mentored and coached by somebody to learn and have that, like, cause I don't know everything at this point, you know? And so I'm always looking to mentor with somebody or work with somebody who is where I want to be, because like you say, they've learned how to do a lot of those things and they can teach me and do those things with me as well. And it's funny because I use that on my kids, my teenagers all the time. It's like, it's my job as your parent to make sure, you know, so I use that with them all the time. I guess I start using it with my team more. I love that. So can you, speaking of the legacy leadership, I want you to just share a little bit about what you offer in that Facebook group and how all of that stuff works. Because I've just, like I said, I've done one training so far in that group, and like I've already made a major shift in my business. So I would love for you to share with everybody who's watching here a little bit more about that and how that all works and what you do with that. And if you want to give me links and things like that, they get access to all that kind of good stuff.
So the Legacy Leadership Academy is a monthly membership program. We create new trainings every month. We have a private Facebook group where we've created a community of over 4,000 network marketers from all over the world, all different shapes, sizes, colors, companies. The one thing they all have in common is they share the same belief about this profession that I do, which is that network marketing is about much more than just making a lot of money. And a legacy leader is someone different. A legacy leader puts love, service, and giving at the center of their business. They want to build a business that gives them complete freedom, but they want that freedom because they want to make a bigger impact in the world. And they want to learn strategies and techniques that work in the world today to help them create the business and the life of their dreams. And that's what we do. We provide training. We teach the legacy leadership way of building a network marketing business. I'm telling you, for most of the people who are watching this, this is completely different than anything you've been taught before. We cover everything from mindset, prospecting, team building, training, productivity and time management, social media. We have all these different categories of training that we've built up this catalog over time. You can go into our membership area, get exactly what you need when you need it. But the reason why our community exists, to me, is what's most important. If I can play just a small part in bringing together people that are in this profession that all feel the way that I do, and we can come together and really start to change the way that people think about building a business like this, I hold the belief that the way that we change people's opinion of this profession is we make it an unstoppable force for good in the world. We teach people the power of practicing everyday simple acts of generosity and kindness that have a ripple effect in the world. As a community, we donate 10% of all of the money that we make through our membership fees to charities every single month that support children in need. We started this idea back in October of last year. We've already donated as a membership group over $100,000 to charities worldwide. And I think that our mission, we call it our mission to millions, is that through the training and the support in the community that we provide, we want to help thousands of network marketers create complete freedom in their business. And in the process, we are going to donate millions of dollars to charities. And by changing the way people approach and think about their business, we want to go out and we want to positively impact the lives of 100 million people around the world. So this is much bigger than just a thing that we're doing.
Coaching or training or whatever.
This is a movement. I call it the rise of the legacy leader. It is time for us to step up and be heard and make a change. And we've created a program around this. Now we only open up enrollment 4 times a year.
Okay.
And I think we're scheduled to open enrollment up again in the end of July. If anybody goes to legacyleadershipacademy.com, they can join our wait list and be one of the first people to find out when we open up enrollment.
I love it. I love it because it's changing the face of, like you said at the beginning, like network marketers, we have a bad, sometimes we have a bad rap in this industry. So this is like a movement to create, a different kind of, label for us as network marketers that we, I've always said my network marketing business is a vehicle for me to be able to do other things, because network marketing, we get time freedom because our income is leveraged. And so we can take that time and the money that we make in this business and be able to do bigger, better things to serve, right? And help others. So I love that that's the, that's the mission behind your group. So fantastic. And I will have links for that so everybody can get on the waiting list when that opens in July. So I love that.
And one other thing I'll mention, because we are actually, I've been doing a series of one-day events all over the country.
Yes, I saw that.
To start teaching this kind of philosophy and approach. And our first 2 events have gone incredibly well. We've got 2 more events scheduled now. I'll be in Dallas, Texas on July 14th.
Okay.
And I'll be in Chicago on August 18th.
Mm.
We do have a Southern California date in November that we'll be announcing really soon. But if any of your audience is in Dallas or Chicago and wants to attend, they can just go to bobheilig.com
Okay.
/summer tour. You can share that link with them. But the events are only $47 to attend. It's an entire training, 9 to 5. We're going to cover a lot of what I've been talking about. So that might be a good kind of entree into the world of what we do.
What we're doing. And I mean, I'm only an hour flight from Chicago, so I better look up that August date and get
there. A lot of fun. Yeah, we're going to do specifically, I did this training this past weekend that people were like flipping out over, is I teach people 5 key areas of their business where duplication breaks down. So if you want to create momentum, we actually have you do a business audit, and we break people off into groups, and we deep dive into these 5 areas. So if anybody's like struggling with momentum, this might be like one of the most important trainings you've ever had. I break it down into this really simple system. We're going to be doing that exercise at both of the
events. Okay. That's amazing. Yes. Yep. Awesome. Okay. I love that. Okay. Well, I know I've already had you for an hour, so I'm going to wrap up. I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. My Facebook is like blowing up in behind here. So there's people who are liking and commenting and doing all kinds of awesome stuff on there right now. So I'm excited for that. If you could just wrap up with like maybe 1 or 2 top, tips, maybe it's a book, or maybe it's just whatever that you can say to, the tribe that's listening to this right now that are, maybe they're struggling, or maybe they're, trying to figure this business out. Like, what would be your top, 1 or 2 things that you would say, to them if they were, well, they are listening, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would just say I'll keep it to 1, because I think this is the most important. Is I talked about fear earlier. You know, I resisted my fears. Most people do. It's why you're stuck.
Yeah.
What I've discovered is that fear actually leads us to discovering our purpose. And probably one of the greatest revelations of my life has been that the thing that has been one of my greatest fears, which is public speaking, actually all along was really just a reflection of one of the greatest gifts that I had inside of myself.
I love that.
And I'll tell your audience that if there's something you're fearing in your business right now, there's a reason. It's a calling from the universe for you to move to it and stop running from it, so that you can discover your purpose. And a lot of times some gifts that you have inside of you that you never knew were there, and you never have figured that out yet because you've been running from your fears. So stop running from your fears, start moving towards your fears, start being more courageous, and understand that it's right on the other side of your fear. It's everything you've ever wanted in your life.
That actually makes me a little bit emotional, because I have my own personal fears right now, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's what it is,
Yeah. It's a good sign. It means you're on the path of your purpose.
Yes.
If you're not feeling fear, it means you're not doing enough.
Yeah, you're not doing enough. You should be feared. And I remember you recommending the book, The War of Art. And I recommend that
War of Art is a great one.
To everybody. I have it behind me. It's like dog-eared and tabbed and everything. It's one of my favorite all-time books. And if you are feeling that fear and that resistance, go read that book, because it will help you for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Bob, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you.
You got it. It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I can't wait to go back in the live and see all the comments and all that. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And
thanks for having me.
I'm going to just let you go, but I will send the links out for all that stuff. And I can't wait to see how that blows up for you. It's amazing. And hopefully I will see you in Chicago too.
Yeah, you better.
I will. Okay.
All right. See you, Shayna.
Bye. Okay. Oh, he left.